Hello and welcome back to the Geordie Pig Investor channel. And today I'm going to be going through my February 2024 dividend update. So this is just going to break down all the different stocks and shares that paid me a dividend in the month of February. I've got a mix of British and American stocks in here. As you probably know if you've watched my first couple of videos, I like to have a mix of the two. And yeah, we're going to go through each and every stock that paid me a dividend in the month of February. It's actually been my best ever month, which is really nice to see. Obviously, I only started back in August last year, so I can't exactly have made too much money in the previous months as I've building up my portfolio. But yeah, it's always nice to get a new all-time high. And so we're going to go through the full portfolio and how much I've been paid from each stock, how much value I have in each of the stocks. And the first stock that I received a payment from is British American Tobacco, which is ticker symbol BATS. So this was actually one of the bigger payments I received this month, being the second biggest payment, as I have 20.7 shares in this stock. My average cost per share was £23.71, which means that my capital gain is actually slightly down. I'm down just over 1%, which is a negative return of £5.44. And my overall value of the holding is £486.49. The total amount of dividends I've actually received, this was my second payment from BATS, so that is why I have received £6.06, which actually puts me in a slight profit. And when you take into consideration the capital gains alongside that, if I was to sell up now, which obviously I'm not going to do, and I'm fairly long in BATS, so I don't see myself selling anytime soon. Their dividend frequency, they pay twice a year, with a massive dividend yield at 12.5%. One of the real pull factors to a stock like this. Obviously, I'm sort of more concerned about dividend growth with me being only 23 years old. So the 5-year dividend growth rate is sort of what I'm looking at a little bit more than the dividend yield. But I still like to have fairly decent yields across some stocks and have a good balance between them. So you'll see today when I go through all these stocks that some have really good, some have really high yields, and some have sort of very low yields but higher dividend growth rates. BATS actually does still have a dividend growth rate of around 2.91%, which is slightly above inflation. So, I always try and aim for around about the 3% mark on the 5-year dividend growth rate. So slightly under there, but with paying such a high dividend yield, and I believe the price right now is really, really attractive. Hence why I've got quite a big position in this company. So yeah, I'm quite happy to hold this and even add to this position if it continues to drop. And the dividend I received this month was £4.64. So the next stock that I received a dividend from was actually also on the 1st of February. This was United Utilities, ticker symbol UU. It's another British stock, and I have 7.7 shares of it, average cost being £9.94. My current holding is not the biggest position here yet. It's at £78.70. My capital gain, I'm actually slightly up on the position, up 2.6%, which is £2.37. I've received £1 in dividends, and that was all from this month. They pay twice a year, the same as BATS, and their dividend yield is 4.61% with a 5-year growth rate of 3.12. That brings my total to £5.64 for the month. And yeah, that was both on the same day, so that was really nice to get on the same day, the first day of the month. Next stock that I received a dividend from was on the 9th of February, and this coming from Sage Group, which is ticker symbol SGE. I have 6.8 shares with an average cost per share about £10.56. I'm up a really nice amount on this position, although I don't have a lot actually in the position. So my total value is £84.38, giving me a capital gain of 17.8%, which is £12.75. I've received 82 pence in dividends, and these also pay out twice per year, with a dividend yield at 1.55%, but their dividend growth rate is just above that 3% mark at 3.33. So my overall February dividend total now is just under £6.50. Next ticker symbol is TXN, which is of Texas Instruments, which is another one that I've had quite a nice increase in capital gains on this position, as I only own, again, a little bit of a smaller position, so I have 0.78 of a share, costing me an average of £121.25, but my holding is actually only worth £105 due to it being under 1 share's worth. So I'm up £10.79 on the position, and I've received a total of 91 pence in dividends so far. but 68 pence of that was this month. You can see that they pay out 4 times a year, and their dividend yield is actually just over 3%, which is really, really nice considering that 5-year growth rate is huge at over 10%. So yeah, these positions, like I say, with us only starting 6 months ago, a lot of my positions are still fairly small, and I'm building the positions up. The next one we're going to talk about is a slightly bigger position that I've got, and that is Realty Income, ticker symbol O. One that you're probably all very familiar with, especially if you're in your dividend stocks, as it is a monthly dividend payer. I'm currently got 9.3 shares, and an average cost price is £41.50, with the total value of my holding being £384.26, which gives me a capital gain of -£2, but I have received over £5.80 in dividends so far. Like I said earlier, it is paying every single month, so it's always nice to get this payment coming in every single month. They pay around about in the middle of the month, so I got this on the 15th of February, and their dividend yield is at 5.89%, which the price is trading a little bit lower than what it normally would due to the fact that the interest rates are still super high. So the REITs usually take a little bit of a battering in that period, so it's a good time to capitalize on that and get in at the discount. And the 5-year growth rate is just above that 3% mark, which I'm very, very happy to continue to buy into this. I received 88 pence this month, which brings my total to over £8 now in dividend payments for February. The next one is Apple. This is obviously more of a long-term play, as their dividend yield is very low at 0.53%. I've got just over 1.6 shares, which I paid an average price per share at £143.37, which gives me a capital gains of just -1%, which is £2.30. And this month I received 19 pence from Apple, bringing me to £8.21 total. Yeah, Apple, like you say, it's been on a little bit of a rocky road at the minute. The new iPhone release, the VR set headset hasn't really took off, so it's been on a slight decline sort of the last 6 weeks or so, which I've just been slowly adding to the position, bringing the position up, as I'm happy to buy in at around about the $180 mark. The next stock I got a payment from in February was Caterpillar, which is ticker symbol CAT. Fortunately, I've only got 0.63 of a share, as I'm up quite a bit on this position. As you can see, I'm up £41.12, which is a 32% return so far, and I've received 77 pence in dividends since holding this position, which of that 77 pence, 56 pence was paid this month. They do pay 4 times a year, and their yield is on the slightly lower side, but again, a very, very long-term play, with a really nice 5-year dividend growth rate at 6.59%. So the next stock, Starbucks, ticker symbol SBUX, and I now have 4.33 shares of it, a slightly bigger position here, as again I believe set a really, really nice price at the minute. You know, the stock market's obviously at all-time highs when it comes to the S&P 500, but there is still deals to be made out there, and I do believe there's some really nice undervalued stocks, so I just like to keep adding to the positions, and that is what I will keep doing. So I'm not going to force positions and put money into stocks just because I like the stock. I'm going to wait for the price to be at the right price so that I'm happy to add into that position. You can see I have around about £320 worth in my holding, which gives me a return of -£2.09. But I have received £3.54 in dividends. Starbucks pays out 4 times a year as well, and their dividend yield is 2.45% with a 5-year growth rate of 8.88%, which is again really, really nice to see. I received £1.44 from Starbucks this month, which takes me over that magical £10 mark for the month. Not much to some, but for myself, it's really, really nice to see. And the final stock of February was the one that brought me to my highest ever month of dividends, and that was Greenco UK Wind, ticker symbol UKW. I have 183 shares of Greenco UK Wind, and I paid an average of £1.36 per share, so for a total value of £253.72. I am up slightly at £3.75 for a plus 1.5% return, and I've received £6.83 in dividends. These do pay 4 times a year, even though they're a UK company, so it isn't unheard of to have that. It's just not quite as frequent as the American stocks. And the dividend yield is just under 10%, which again is huge for a yield, but their growth rate backs it up as well. A growth rate of a massive 14.7% in the last 5 years. Is it sustainable? I'm not sure it'll stay that high, but even a 5-year growth rate, I'm happy if it's even above above 3%. I'm really happy with. So to see it that high is a bonus. And I received a massive £5.21 this month from them, which, like I said earlier, is my biggest payment this month, and it takes me to a total of £15.42. So if I show you the final stock of the month, I did receive a small dividend payment from AT&T. The reason I've got this at the end is just because I sold out of the position. So I had 4.34 shares of AT&T, and I made a realised gain of plus £2.67. And that month I had actually already received 69p dividend from them, which takes me to the total for the month of £16.11. So yeah, the reason I sold out of this position was, like I said earlier, I'm trying to sort of cut down on the amount of stocks I have in the portfolio, and AT&T lost its dividend streak, so it wasn't growing the dividend anymore, and it was sort of flatlining as a company, and I'm not really too sure on the future in terms of how much growth that there's really going to be in it. And I just feel like for long-term growth, I've got a lot better options out there, really. So that is a reason for selling out of the position. And if I show you the overall total, you can see on this little graph here, I received £6.51 in January, and then, like we've just witnessed there, I got £16.11 in February. So it's a nice little graph. Hopefully we'll see these bars slowly creeping up every month, get up towards, I would love to have, something like a £50 month this year. That would be amazing. But it's always good to aim high, and I know that March is quite a big month, so I should hopefully be able to beat my £16 in March, as I've got all of my ETFs paying out in that month. So yeah, so that is my February dividend portfolio update. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll likely do one of these videos every single month just to go through my dividend portfolio. It's nice to keep track and having a close eye on how much I'm receiving and what all my positions are doing. So thank you very much for watching. This is the Geordie Pig, over and out.